If you are here, you either already have or had a naked Yamaha Diversion, or you are thinking of getting one second, third, or fourth hand, as obviously it has been some time since they stopped producing them. I'm obviously talking about the model built from the 90s to the early 2000s, not the newer ones. Pretty good and cheap. You know how most of the time you have to choose only two of those? But the naked diversion offers you somehow all three. Now, I believe our American friends unfortunately never got the naked model, only the faired one, which, in my humble opinion, is not that beautiful, but I digress. This model was used by couriers, police, and so on and so forth, for good reason and for many years. In no particular order, I will go over some of the pros of the bike. Firstly, the used price is, in my opinion, one of the best in the market ever. This bike is good for a lot of kilometers with minimal and cheap maintenance. I often see examples with more than 120,000 kilometers. There is no water cooling, and the engine is rather understressed for a 600cc unit. Unlike other low price old offerings with four cylinders and an upright riding position, such as the Suzuki Bandit, Yamaha still has a 2 valve per cylinder classic UJM setup. There is, of course, a small oil radiator that helps with cooling a little bit, although a version that I heard says that it also has a lot to do with the emission standards of the time, Euro 1. The general package is quite complete. You have fork gaiters, which prevent grit from ruining your fork seals, a center stand, which nowadays is kind of a luxury even on street bikes, and a single rear shock under the seat. The space around the engine is large enough that you can actually reach with your hand the idle adjusting knob that lies in the middle of the carburetor banks. With a hot engine, yes. The instruments are pretty basic, but you do have hazard lights. There is no fuel gauge, but who needs that really when you have the reserve position? The fuel petcock is vacuum operated, and there is also prime position. What more can you ask? There is no ABS, no ride modes. Then there is a double disc front brake, which is always good to have. The aesthetics are straight up pure 90s with a round headlight and round sweeping lines. Lots of chrome and metallic paint, with the most distinctive feature being the beautifully and strangely crisscrossed exhaust header pipes. A very distinctive feature. Very few and simple decals, no fairings to speak of really. The asking prices in Europe go between 700 and 1700 euros for working examples. Right now, this bike model is at rock bottom value, and from here on, it will only go up probably. As any cheaper would mean is actually more lucrative to gut it and sell for parts. Being carbureted, this bike doesn't like to sit at all. Ideally, should be your daily rider. If you buy one, make sure it starts well and keeps a nice, steady, lowish idle when warmed up. If you hear a Ducati style rattle at idle that goes away when you pull in the clutch, this is nothing to be worried about, as after a time, almost all of them do it. This is a well-known, pretty benign, and totally repairable issue, which is by now well documented. This bike is buzzy at 4 to 6,000 RPM, but the sound when you ride it is pure music. Yamaha certainly knows sound. If you are looking for the cheapest universal Japanese motorcycle on the market, I would argue this is it right now. Upright riding position, 8 valve, 4 cylinder, air cooled, classic looks. Now I will let this forgotten Cinderella sleep and dream of the glory it never had and never will have. What it will have, however, is a little place in the hearts of so many riders who could get and stay into motorcycle because of this unassuming and affordable Japanese machine.